Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to update your blog post in WordPress. So if you have a WordPress website, this is how you update a blog post. I'm going to use our Adventure Dorks website as an example. So I'll just show you how it looks live. Slow loading internet tonight, of course. So here's the website, and this is an example of a blog post. Usually we do video blogs, but today I'm going to do a text-based blog to show you how it works. So this website is based on a WordPress theme. So when I've logged into WordPress, it takes you to this dashboard, and your dashboard will look a little different than mine. But what you need to know is that the menu for WordPress is all on the left-hand side in this black area, in this dark area. So I will click on posts here. This is where all blog posts are located, is in the menu item called posts. So you click on posts. You can see if I hover over it, it had a drop down. You could choose all posts or whatever, but I usually just click on the item posts, and then you can see all the previous posts that I've made. If you haven't made any posts yet, you'll have a blank space here waiting for you to add a new one. So in the case of my website, and you may have this as well, especially if I have worked with you on your website, I have set up something that allows me to duplicate blog posts to make it quicker and easier, especially when I have repeated content that I want to see in multiple posts. So for example, we go on these trips and I have a map associated with the trip, and I want that map to be repeated on every blog post for the series. So in order to do that, I would click on this clone button, and what the clone does is it will duplicate this post and give you a new post. It'll call it draft, and you can go in and edit it. If you don't have that option, everybody has the option to add new. So that's the one I'm going to walk you through right now. So you click add new, and then WordPress will open up the editor for the new post. And in case you don't already know, plugins and different things in WordPress will give you notifications that show up at the top. So you can see that I have one here for duplicate post, which is exactly the one I was just talking about. But I'm just going to ignore it for now. So I'm going to shut it, and I'm going to click do not allow. And there we go. This is more like what you'll see in your post. So every blog post gets a title, otherwise it'll show up as untitled in your list, and you need to have a title. So I have actually created a blog post here, and before I even wrote this blog post, what I did, of course, was I did some keyword research. So I've determined that my focus keyword for this blog post would be nomadic family. So what that means is I want to work in the phrase nomadic family into my title, my first paragraph, and elsewhere in the blog post in order to help rise it in the search ranks for that keyword phrase. So my title is, what does being a nomadic family mean to us? And I've posted that there. So that's the first thing you do, is create a title, and then what you'll see is a permalink. This is going to be the URL or the link that will link to your blog post when it's published. And it will show up in different formats depending on what your website is set up to do. Mine is set up to put the actual title of the post in the link. And that is great for search engine optimization. So if yours is not doing that, if it's just leaving it as a number or as date, that's something to look into to change. So I won't show you that in this example. So I'm just using the basic WordPress editor for this. I do have something called Advanced Layout Editor. We're just going to ignore that for now. Everyone who has a WordPress site will have something similar to this, the basic editor. And of course now WordPress is updating that, so yours might look even more different than this, but it should have similar things like add media, all these formatting things like you'd find in a Word document. So I'm just going to copy and paste my blog post right into there. But I have a signature I'm going to add. So there we go. I copied and pasted it in. And instead of that being bold, I'm going to actually make that a header. So you can see that there's these pre-formatted options. So I'm going to make it a heading 2. And you'll see that it creates bold and larger type for that. And if I click into here, you'll see it's just set to paragraph. So the default is paragraph. But the same with this one, I'm going to change to a heading 2 as well. And the rest of the formatting I'm going to leave. The only other thing I'm going to change is I've put these links here for me to update. So I'm actually going to cut that, delete that. That's just a note for myself. And I'm turning this whole sentence into a link. So you can do that up here. I click the link, paste it, click apply. And I'm going to do the same with all these links. Okay, so I've formatted the text of my blog post the way I want, but I have 2 images that I want to include. One is an image that I want to be sort of the focal point when you click on the blog post, and I'm actually going to put it right at the top here. So I'm going to click Add Media. This is how you insert photos. So it will bring up your media library, so you can choose an image that you've uploaded previously. But I'm actually going to upload a new one. So you can click Select Files or Drop Files anywhere to upload. So I have actually right here this collage that I want to do. So I'm literally going to just drag and drop it. And there it takes a minute to upload. You can put in some alt text, which won't show up anywhere except when someone hovers over your photo, or if someone has a screen reader that's reading out what the image looks like, because they might be visually impaired. And that's great. So that's primarily the main components of your blog post, but some things that are really important to include and to note are these things here. So first, let's do a featured image. So you actually scroll down and look on the right hand side here. And way down at the very bottom, I wish they'd put it at the top because it's an important piece to have, and everybody needs to have a featured image, but it's way at the bottom. So set your featured image. So I have a second image that I'm using as a featured image. And the key thing to note with featured images are that they need to be at least 1280 pixels wide in order to show up on Facebook. If I took the link to that blog post and posted it in Facebook, it should auto display this image, this featured image. If your image is smaller than 1280, it will not auto display that. It will pick some other random photo from your website or random graphic from your website. So your featured image should always be at least 1280 pixels wide. So set featured image. So you can see how quick that comes together if you have your assets ready. So I had my blog post already ready based on a keyword that I've researched, and then I also had my image already pre-formatted to 1280 pixels wide, and I had another image to post right in the middle of my post to make it look good. So then I can go ahead and click publish, but there's a few other things. Categories. You can create categories that make sense for your website. We have a certain amount here that we use. These are the ones that we use frequently. And you can even click most used to see, but I think we only have so many categories listed here. Choose a category that makes sense for you. In my case, it'll probably be lifestyle. You can choose multiple categories as well. And I'm just going to choose also van life. Is there a nomadic life? No. Tags. Some of you will be using tags to help sort your content. Some of you won't be using them at all. They're also good to use for search engine optimization. So I'm going to just click choose from the most used tags, and then it pops up here with all these different tags. So I'll click on some ones that are relevant. You can again click multiple ones. So I'll click on van life, and I'll click on adventures. So we have a featured image, we have our tags, and we have our categories. So the publish box is something to talk about. So I can save it as a draft right now, and then that basically means it's only visible if you're logged in to my WordPress site. So I can save it as a draft and keep saving it as a draft and publish it only when I'm ready to publish. Once you click publish, the visibility will become public. Right now the status is draft. Publish immediately, so I could also schedule this to publish in the future. And all is looking good, so I'm going to click publish. So now, because I have this set up in MailChimp to send out every Tuesday if a new blog post goes out, I'm going to open up MailChimp and just show you how that works. Okay, so I have my Adventure Dorks automated RSS campaign that sends out a MailChimp newsletter based on my blog post automatically. So I'm just going to preview it for you so you can see what's going to go out. So in order to do that, I have to pause and edit the campaign. Go into design. And now I'll click preview. So this is what my newsletter will look like on Tuesday morning when it goes out. Nice header that's the same on all newsletters, a little text that says that's the same on all newsletters, and then the information here, the blog post here. Yeah. I've noticed lately that in previewing in MailChimp that the image hasn't been showing up, but if you send a test email, it will show up. So it's just a MailChimp glitch that's going on right now. So that's how that will look. Done. Okay.